So I actually wanted to start this course by talking a little bit about what marketing is and how people feel about it. So marketing is simply in this context, it's talking about your product. It's talking about your books to other people with the hope and the intention and the idea that someone is going to go and actually buy your book and pay for it. And the thing about marketing is that a lot of people hate it. I hear all the time people say, marketing is the worst. They'll say, I hate marketing, or I'm really bad at marketing, or it's evil. I've seen this on Facebook, in author groups. I've heard it at conferences. People say this to my face, and it's a pretty common attitude. But I'd like to offer a slightly different perspective, which is that it's not actually the marketing that you or anyone hates, because all that marketing is talking about your books, right? And we love our books, presumably. And so we love talking about things that we love. So it's not that we hate talking about something that we're proud of. It's not that we hate that. The thing that we hate is the feeling that we don't know what we're doing, or the feeling of failure. Nobody likes to feel stupid, and marketing is an extremely complex thing. I mean, people have degrees and advanced degrees in marketing. Big companies pay individual people to do little tiny slivers of the whole of marketing. You know, one person is entirely responsible for all emails that a company sends out, while a completely different person is responsible for social media, and they might even have a team of people. One person who does social media analytics, one person who does paid advertising on social media, one person who produces social media content. And as authors and individual business owners, we are trying to do everything and be experts in everything that big companies pay dozens of people to do. So it's not that we hate the marketing. What we hate is that feeling of failure, or that feeling of not knowing what we're doing. So it's hard. Marketing is really, really hard. And so I encourage you to take a step back and say to yourself, it's not that I hate marketing. It's not that I hate talking about my books. It's that I hate feeling like I don't know what I'm doing. I hate putting myself out there and feeling like people are judging me. I hate failing. I hate spending money and not seeing any return for my money. Add to that sense of complexity the fact that author businesses are substantially different than a lot of corporate marketing, especially indie authors. You know, you can't just go online and Google how to market a book. I mean, you can, but what you'll find are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different strategies without a lot of guidance on what the best thing to do is or the best direction to take. There are just so many different things that you can try. And if you try to search more generally, like how do I build a brand or how do I market a product? Again, there's just so much content. There's just so many possible things that we could be doing. And it's really, really, really tough. And so once you've failed a couple times, it starts to feel impossible. I want to give you a quick example of something that happened to me. A few years ago, I had decided to take my books wide, meaning that originally my books were only on Amazon, and I had them in Kindle Select, which is an exclusive program. And so I decided to remove my books from Kindle Select and take them wide and put them on all the different other platforms like Barnes & Noble and Kobo and a bunch of the other distributors. And I didn't realize this at the time, but Kindle Select automatically renews your exclusive membership in the program. And so I had to go in and unclick a box, and I had to let it run out on one of my books. And so I had one book that was still in the program for another month. And I was like, well, as long as my book is still in this program, I should take advantage of one or two of the options that Amazon offers for marketing. And so I decided to put my book free for 5 days. So I took The Clock Winked, which is the second book in my first series that I ever published, and I put it free for 5 days a week later. And then I spent like 3 hours one day finding a bunch of free book promotion sites and signing my book up for a like newsletter blast to go out on that same day. And then I forgot about it. At the end of the first day of the promotion, I suddenly remembered, oh crap, I have a book being promoted today. And so I logged on to the KDP dashboard, and I had over 800 downloads. And at this point in my career, I was making $2 a month. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was stoked. I was like, 800 downloads in a day? Like, how is this even happening? And the majority of my promos that I had set up weren't going out till the next day either. So I was like, this is amazing. So I went on Facebook and Twitter, and I tweeted and I posted, and I was like, hey, everybody in my network, this is crazy that's happening. I'm like inching up, my rankings were going up higher. I was like, this is so exciting. And I got all my friends and people in my network to download my book and to try to give me like a little bit of a boost. And so I watched the numbers climb on day 2. And I got over 1,200 downloads on the second day. And so I'm already, as you can see, over 2,000 downloads. And over the course of the 5-day period, I ended up with nearly 2,500 downloads of the book. I got a couple new reviews, and I had a couple sales of the rest of the series. And I was like, this is amazing. But there was one problem. And the problem was The Clock Winked was book 2 of the series. This was just a random thing that I had tried. I hadn't really planned it out. If I had planned it out, I would have done this whole promotion with book 1. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I can do this with book 1. So I put book 1 back into Kindle Select. I set the whole thing up again for a month later, but on book 1. And I did all of the same promos. I even paid for a few this time, whereas previously I had only done free ones. And then I sat back and waited for the downloads to roll in. However, throughout the course of the 5-day promotion, I think I got less than 800 downloads, which was fewer than I had for the first day of the original promotion. And I was devastated because I spent like $100 on this, and I had expected to get at least 2,000 downloads like I had for the first book. And of course, looking back, I can see a dozen reasons why it didn't work the second time the same way as it had the first. But at the time, I was just so defeated. And I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand why this is happening. I don't understand how I could be so successful the first time and so unsuccessful the second time. And the whole thing felt pointless, like literally pointless, to the point of like, I was just like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. And I was angry. I was like, it shouldn't be this hard. Like, I found a thing that works. Why doesn't it work a second time? And that's when I started thinking about the metaphor of throwing paint against the wall. All of my marketing just felt like I was throwing paint against the wall and expecting a picture to magically emerge. And so after my period of being frustrated and angry, I decided that I was going to study marketing and publishing and the book industry, and I was going to figure it out. Because I was like, there has to be some kind of pattern. There has to be something. There has to be something. Something that I'm missing that's going to make this work for me. So, if that sounds familiar, I'm hoping that this entire workshop and this course is going to help you skip ahead a few years from my process. I'm hoping that you don't have to go and figure out all of the other little tiny pieces that I had to figure out. And I do want to encourage you, it is possible. It is 100% doable to create a strategy, to create a career, and to actually make money publishing books. But it is a lot of work, and it does take a lot of time. A couple final notes before I dive into the real content and of actually building the strategy. The first thing I want to say is this is a guide. This is just one system. And if it doesn't work for you, go find another system. There are quite a few people out there who have their own systems that they market and that they sell. And many of them say that this is the only way to do it or the best way. And anybody who says that is lying. It is there is no one right way. There are many ways to build a strategy. And I think as authors, we already know that we all think a little bit differently. You know, you have people who are discovery writers and you have people who are outliners. You have people who like to write in the morning and people who like to write at night. You have people who love world building and people who prefer character development. And building a business and building a strategy is the same thing. Different things work better for different people. And so I highly encourage you to find a system that works for you. If this is it, fantastic. If this isn't it, move on. Read something else, take a different course, and find something different. For that reason, I'm actually going to make this workshop free forever because I actually want to help people. And so if this system works for you, I want you to be able to access it and find it and use it whenever you're ready. And if it doesn't, I don't want you to have wasted your money. The second thing I want to say is that this system is centered around authors who want to build a career. If you are writing just as a hobby, if you're not really that interested in marketing and you really just kind of want to write and do your own thing, do it. Go for it. This can certainly help you if you want to sell more books than you are, but it is geared towards people who are trying to build a career as an author. Thirdly, every plan based off of my system here is going to look different. So if you and 10 of your author friends take this course and you all create your own author plans, they're going to look different. And that is good. That is right. And that is how it is supposed to work. So just because someone else is doing something different from you, you shouldn't feel like you're doing anything wrong or incorrectly. The whole idea here is that you will start to learn and understand why you're making the choices that you're making and why those choices might look different from another author's choices. The fourth thing is that the marketing tools, systems, and strategies that exist in the wide world are constantly changing. And so if you want to make this a full-time or long-term thing, keep in mind that you're going to have to keep learning. You can't just learn one thing once and expect it to work indefinitely. This is sort of an ongoing process, the process of learning and developing. You're going to constantly be revising and updating and adjusting your marketing strategy and your marketing plan, and that is also good, and that is also fine and how it should work. Just think about how much the technology for publishing has changed in the last 20 years. You know, just the invention of the e-reader was just a huge shift, and everything has been progressing at an exponential rate since then, and that's going to keep happening. So if you don't like learning, this might not be the best career path for you. And then finally, the last thing I want to say before we really dive into the nitty-gritty is that marketing is work. I have encountered so many people who think they should just be able to post a link to their book on Facebook and get sales. And that is not how it works. It's not how it works. It's not easy. Marketing is hard. Building a business is hard. Building a career is hard. And it requires work, time, effort, and money. There is no quick and easy way to sell books. There's no super secret awesome sauce that will just magically make everything better. So if this is what you really want, and this is really what you want to learn, and this is really the direction and the path that you want to go, then roll up your sleeves and put on your rubber boots and get ready to get your hands dirty.